I say this every time, but I should be making more homemade pasta. It's such a pleasure to make and it tastes sensational. So when you're making homemade pasta, you want to be using a Tipo 00 style flour. That just means that it's a super fine mid-protein flour. So it's just perfect for pastas just like this. I'm going to be making some fettuccine. I'm going to be cutting it by hand so it looks slightly rustic. So into a food processor, we're going to add our flour. This is 400 grams of Tipo 00 flour. To this, I will add a pinch of salt. And usually we say 100 grams of flour to 1 egg, but it really depends on how large your eggs are. So for this particular recipe, I'm going to add a little bit more, so 5 eggs for this. Some people will use only egg yolks. Some people may use a mixture of both. So it really depends on how rich you want your pasta to be. So the lid can go on, and I'm going to blend this until it's a crumb. All right, this is looking good. So we're going to take it out of the food processor, and you can see because it's a crumb, we need to work it slightly just so it forms a ball. So straight onto a clean work surface, scrape all that out. And this makes a good chunk of pasta. When I'm making pasta, I want to make a big amount of it so I can either dry it or use it for a big group of friends. Just work that together, pick up all those crumbs, and you don't need to knead it too much because we're going to be laminating it on the pasta machine later on. So press that out, and then we need to wrap this in some cling film. Just cover it completely. And it needs to rest. It has been in that food processor, it's been worked, we need to just relax it slightly. So into the fridge for about an hour. Now we've got some time, we might as well make a very quick sauce to go with our fresh pasta. So into a pan, some really good quality extra virgin olive oil. I want a lot of this, so 2 to 3 tablespoons of that oil. Into that, 2 cloves of garlic. This is a very simple sauce. It's just a Pomodoro sauce, so just tomatoes, garlic, and I love the anchovies. I think it really makes a difference. It doesn't make it fishy. It gives it that wonderful savoury flavour. So you can see this is not sizzling. I don't want it to sizzle or else it'll burn too fast. You just want to start flavouring that oil. The anchovies, use the best quality anchovies that you can find. These ones are gorgeous and plump. So we're going to add, let's say 3 or 4. And you can chop them if you like, but just with your wooden spoon, you can just break them up. And throughout the cooking process, they really will dissolve into the tomato sauce. So 1 can of crushed tomatoes. Again, use a good quality crushed tomato. Because we're using very minimal ingredients, we want the best of them all. We'll just give that a stir. And I'm not going to pop a lid on this. I'm just going to cook this on a medium to low heat with a really good pinch of salt. And that's going to cook for about 15 minutes until it's really thick and rich. Pasta's come out of the fridge and you can see that it's lovely and soft now. So I'm just going to cut half of this dough to start with. Straight down the middle. Look at that beautiful colour from the eggs. And we want to press that out. And always have a little extra of that Tipo 00 flour. And when I was in Italy, they always recommended that I have some fine semolina on the side too. This is a textural thing. So a little bit of that semolina, a little bit of that flour. You don't want to overdo it because you don't want to dry out the pasta. It's just to help it along as it goes through the wheels of the pasta machine. So you want to start on the highest setting, so as wide as it goes. And I'll place the pasta through it, and little by little it'll start to feed through, and you want to grab it on the other side. So it won't be as smooth as you would first expect it to be, but that's okay. What we need to do now is fold it on itself. You could even do it twice. We're going to feed it through again, and we'll do this a few times. So step by step, we're going to go through the sizes just to get this as thin as possible. So this will take a little bit of time. Personally, I find it very therapeutic making this because as you'll see, it's going to get thinner, smoother, and it'll be the perfect pasta sheet. Now that we've got beautiful thin sheets of pasta, you can have a bit of fun on the shape. So I'm going to make fettuccine, which is a thicker style long pasta. You could even just use these to make a lasagna and it just tastes spectacular. So I'm going to cut them in half first. So we've got 4 sheets. Then what I like to do is just roll it on itself. So one big roll and the second one, rolling that up. And then we can cut it into our little fettuccine. Okay, so you can go even wider, and a wider one is called pappardelle, or a little thinner, and that's called linguine. So you can choose whatever shape you like, and it really depends on the sauce. Now, some people say fresh pasta is better than dry pasta. Absolutely not. It's just a different texture. That's how I see it. So if you want to challenge yourself and learn how to make pasta, give it a go, because it is quite easy to do. So we'll do one last batch, cutting that, and what I love is they're just not perfect. So you can just be a little bit rough now to separate the strands so you've got all your individual little fettuccine. So what you can do now is just roll them up just like little mounds and dry them out, or you can pop them into the fridge until you're ready to use them. So I'd say about a nest of that size is enough for one person. So I've got some water on, rapidly boiling. We want to season it quite generously with some salt. And we're going to place that in the water and just cook it for a few minutes. Pasta is ready, it's come to the surface. So we'll just use a slotted spoon just to carefully transfer these noodles straight into our sauce, allowing some of that water to go in. That starchy water is key to really getting that sauce to stick to our pasta. So even if you've got an extra spoon, just add 1 to 2 spoonfuls, toss it around and see if it needs some more. So we'll give that a bit of a shake, toss and a jiggle, and look at those beautiful colours. Now we can't have this without some fresh basil. So a few sprigs of basil. We can just tear that in. Another little toss. And that for me is just heaven. We'll plate a portion up of our beautiful fettuccine. A little nest in the centre, get some of that sauce. See how it's cooked down significantly. It's not swimming in the sauce, it's just latching on to each individual noodle there. Finally, I can't have my pasta pomodoro without some cheese. So you could use some Parmesan or some pecorino, a little grating over the top, maybe some extra basil. This is pasta in its purest form, pasta with red sauce. I know when I go to Italy, the first thing I crave is a dish like this, but now we don't need to go to Italy. You can make it from scratch at home.